Hello and welcome to episode 12 of my 90 for 90. I'm your host and founder of the Audacity Factor, Catherine Daw, also creator of the Audacity Project community on Patreon. I would love to see you there. You can join for free. There, I also do have two paid membership tiers, so please check it out. I'm laughing because I don't know, my camera's doing some weird stuff, so you'll see some pieces of me in and out. I don't know, whatever. But and this is also my third take. I really do everything off the cuff. So sometimes I find myself going off on a tangent and then I'll just have to kind of refocus, and sometimes I'll start over from the very beginning, which is generally what I do. I can generally tell from the very beginning if I'm off track immediately. So and sometimes that's about me, I think, being not quite sure what I'm going to talk about. But for me now, it's really I want to talk about commitment. And, I committed to doing 90 videos in 90 days. So a video a day. I'm making an attempt to do a little bit more than that. I have my Patreon account that does take some separate videos, so I do those as well. And again, if you want to check them out, please head over to my Patreon. I'll put a link below in the comments or in the description, rather, here on YouTube. So anyway, I made a commitment to myself to do these videos really as kind of a testament to my own level of commitment to what it is that I'm doing and to serving you on a daily basis instead of weekly, because I was only creating one video a week and then creating some clips out of that. And we have so much available to us right now that really can make us keeping our commitments easier. But when you take a look at how many things you actually attempt to commit to in your life, it can seem overwhelming, and it can feel like it's getting confusing or complicated, or it just becomes too much. It can just feel like this mountain of things that you've tried to commit to. But I think really so much of it stems, though, from our desire to have a better life, to be a better person, to have better health, to take control of our finances, or whatever the scenario or scenarios are for you. And I think what I've found is that if I can find some particular things that make it easier for me to keep my commitments, I'll use those. Now, it can be a needle in a haystack. I will tell you that right now. However, there's one when I started my podcast back in, I think it was either March or April. And please, you can go back and watch all the episodes here on YouTube, starting at episode 1. I do have some interviews posted down there as well, and you can listen to them on Spotify and I think on Apple Podcasts as well. However, I did discover that there's a particular software that I can use that just makes it so much easier for me, not only to manage these videos, but to create the clips, create the descriptions, and everything really that I need to be able to leverage what I'm doing. And you'll see that on my videos it says Riverside, and that's what I'm using right now. I found it through Spotify. I love Spotify. I'm a huge fan of Spotify. My daughter turned me on to Spotify years ago, just for my music. And so that's what I use. But then that was kind of the first platform I was using too for my podcasts. When I started this, even though I knew I wanted my presence to be on YouTube, I wanted to incorporate that into Spotify so that I could have a presence on more than one platform. And of course, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Although I have to say that I'm a little disillusioned with LinkedIn. It can still have that kind of let's say, more formal kind of atmosphere on it, although there are tons of people that have gotten outside the box there too. I still post on there occasionally, but the home that I've created for my community is here on YouTube. and on Patreon. So you'll find my premium content on Patreon, but I do post all of my public content here on YouTube. And that's a commitment I've made for myself, to myself, but also to you all. Now, whether you want or need this, I don't know. I'm putting it out there for you. After years and years spent coaching, spent mentoring, for me, it's about the ability to give back in a broader sense, to create impact on a much larger scale than you can do on a one-on-one basis, even in a group scenario. I ended my group coaching program as well, just because I really wanted to be able to reach way more people and do what I can to create impact for what I consider, I guess, the greater good. I know that in my own life, it was, I was committed to being a mother. I spent 2 decades as a single mother, and I knew that I brought my child into the world. She didn't choose to be here. I chose for her. So she was here, and it was my responsibility as a mother to do the best that I could. Especially I had one child, I had one shot at it. So, I recognize that it took a whole nother level of commitment when I especially decided to divorce her father and take on the responsibility of being a single parent. But not only that, I had a commitment to my work. I had a commitment to my family. I had a commitment to my friends. And the commitment for me that got lost was my responsibility and commitment to myself. And it took me years and years to recover that. I had no problem helping others with their needs and to help them to see the way to commit to themselves and choose what they wanted in life. It took me a bit more time to be able to kind of recover that for myself. And that's probably my biggest commitment to you, is to help you to be able to do that same thing, is to recommit to yourself, your needs, your desires, your beliefs, your thoughts, because those are the things that create the life that you're living. And for me, I had to, again, it was a recovery process for me to be able to do that. And it's something I still have to practice as a recovering enabler, as a recovering codependent person. I really had to have made a commitment, a solid commitment to interrupting any of those behaviors. And I practice it every day. And that's really what I see it as. And I encourage you to also envision it as a practice. No different than you practice meditating, you practice art, you practice self-love, or whatever it is for you. This is your commitment to yourself, is a practice, especially when it's something you are not used to doing. It's about choosing you and what you want. And honoring that and being able to consistently interrupt any kind of undermining behaviors or thought patterns that you may have, or beliefs. So many of our beliefs and our thought patterns come from what outside of us. It comes from our families, our friend group, our workplaces. I mean, it really is kind of what you surround yourself with can really create those patterns in your belief system, your thought processes, and then your behavior. So I encourage you to, where are you not committing to yourself and what you want in your life and from your life? Whether it's your health, or your career, or your finances, or your relationships. I mean, and it can be some of all of those areas, because I am definitely a believer that one area suffers, they all can suffer. Maybe not to the same degree, but they all do affect the other ones. If, for example, your health, you're not happy with your health, does it not affect your relationships? Does it not affect your decisions around your money? Does it not affect your career or job in some way as well if you don't feel good about how you feel about your health. So just think about that. And the level of commitment to not being, you don't want to be addicted to the processes. And you can check out my other video that talks about our addictions to our triggers and our methods for our healing process. Discover what works for you and work it. Use it. No different than any apps you use or a grocery store that you use or a workout ideal that you use. Use the ones that work for you. I remember I used to think that there was going to be just one magic answer, and I was constantly searching for the next thing. Once I decided, okay, well, this isn't the answer, and then I would move along. And so I acquired so many possible answers, but literally was still searching until I had to force myself to commit to the things that I knew worked for me and felt right for me. So really think about that. And you can, if you take an overall look at the things that you've tried, maybe it's the diets or the financial advice or the relationship advice, see what you've actually tried or maybe haven't tried fully. If you're like one of my friends, she'll try something for 2 or 3 days and she decides if it doesn't work, then it doesn't. If it doesn't work in that short period of time, then it doesn't work. I don't encourage you to be like that, but that's how some people are, and that's okay. They get to choose. And I'm definitely a believer in you get to choose for you. But if you really want to align and commit fully to yourself, take a look at some of these things. All right. 12 out of my 90 for 90. And please, again, check me out on Patreon. You can join for free. There are some great things available to you. And for both my paid tiers, the first members get free swag. So I will be showing some of that too. I have some being delivered today, so it's really exciting. But I will see you all tomorrow.